guys, and welcome back to my channel. I have quite a few things to talk to you about today. First of all, I'm back. I know it's been a little while since you've seen me. We've had some markets on, and I've also been making a few big changes to Little Miss Lorraine, which I'm going to talk to you about in a moment. One of them you will have already seen at the beginning of this video and by the title of my YouTube channel. We're no longer under the title of Little Miss Lorraine, but I'll go into that in a moment. And I also wanted to talk to you today about my March makes, because I finally have some stuff to show you. I haven't been able to share any of my makes with you yet because I hadn't finished them. So I've got 3 things to show you today. But first of all, I'm just going to talk about some of the changes that have happened while I've been gone. Also, as always, Bailey is on the bed and she's right next to me today, so hopefully she doesn't move too much. And also, I'm hoping the lighting in this video is going to stay good for the whole video. Daylight savings has started? I don't know, but I think it started. But it means that everything's gone back an hour. So even though it's only 5 o'clock when I'm filming this, it's usually 6 o'clock. So it means that it's getting darker quicker. So I'm hoping it won't affect this video too much. Okay, so let's start off with the most obvious change. I am not making videos under Little Miss Lorraine anymore. They are now being made under my name, Jessica Lorraine. I had a bit of like an epiphany after our market experience, and I've realized that it's something I've wanted to do for a while, but having the blog and the shop and the YouTube channel all under the same banner is just not beneficial for anyone. So I've decided to split off all of my sewing stuff into a blog and a YouTube channel under my own name. So I still have all of my videos and all of my blog posts, but they've just been moved to a different banner, and the shop is now under Little Miss Lorraine. I just think it's going to be better for both the shop and the blog to have them as 2 separate things. And yeah, I'm really excited for the move, but it has meant that I've had to make some massive changes. I've updated the website for Little Miss Lorraine, which has been, not gonna lie, an absolute nightmare. Just because, yeah, it was a bit complicated and there's been heaps of trouble with it, but hopefully now it's all fixed and ready to go. And I've also obviously created a new blog under Jessica Lorraine, so I'm hoping everything's up and running as it should be now, and I can finally get back into some sort of normal routine. So there is still going to be a blog associated with Little Miss Lorraine, but it's going to be more focused on our products and just giving you some tips and tricks on how to use our products and style them and that sort of thing. And then obviously Jessica Lorraine is sewing, it's craft, and it's like just my general lifestyle stuff that I like to post. So I will include a sign up link down the bottom if you want to stay updated for Jessica Lorraine. So new blog post alerts, new video alerts, and just general update emails. There's a new sign up form for that. But yeah, I hope the changes are going to be beneficial for both the shop and the blog, but it's just going to take a little while to get used to having the 2. So I hope you guys don't mind the name change, and yeah, make sure you keep an eye out for Jessica Lorraine in your subscription boxes as opposed to Little Miss Lorraine. So what else has been happening? We had a market a couple of weeks ago which went okay. A lot of interest, but it probably wasn't the right market for our things to be at. So we have another one coming up at the end of May, which will hopefully be a little bit better. But it has made us think about the direction we want to take Little Miss Lorraine and how we're going to move forward, which is really exciting. And yeah, like I said, I've just been really focusing on the websites, which has meant I've been in front of the computer for long hours. I work in front of the computer during the day, and I've been spending long hours on the computer at night. So my eyes are hurting, my head's hurting, and I'm just feeling like I've lost a little bit of creativity. So I'm hoping to get back into some sewing this weekend. So my March makes. So I have got 3 things to show you today, and I'm really excited to share them with you finally. One of them is the Virginia leggings for Sew My Style, my pattern test, and also a knitted garment. So let's jump into the video. So the first thing I want to talk to you about today is my pattern test which I can share with you now. You'll have seen me post it on social media, and the pattern's obviously available to everyone now. So it's the Jolene shirt and shirt dress from Ready to Sew. They're a French pattern company, and oh my god, I absolutely love their patterns. There's quite a few now that I really want to purchase, so I'm hoping I'm going to be able to do that soon. Let's talk about this shirt. So this is a really gorgeous shirt. As always, I'll put in some other clips here so you can see it close up, but essentially it's a button-up shirt with princess seams that have gathers up them, tabs on the sleeves for the 3/4 sleeves, a collar with a collar stand, and a peplum down the bottom. What do I think about this? It is such a cute top. You can wear it with skirts, you can wear it with pants, you can wear it with jeans, you can wear it to work. Like, it's a really amazing pattern. I decided to use the chambray, which I originally purchased from a Fabric D stash, and I thought it would be perfect for the Alex shirt dress from Sew Over It. But I decided to cut a molly skirt out of it, thinking I'd be able to get both out of there. And the molly skirt was a complete fail, as you've already seen. So luckily I had enough material left over to make this shirt. Construction wise, it's not that complicated, especially if you've made a shirt before. Obviously you're going to have to start somewhere, so it's a fairly simple pattern. The construction of this is actually really interesting though. So for these gathered bits here, they actually start off as a curved bit, and then when you gather them it goes straight. I found that really interesting. I wasn't sure how that was going to work at first, but that works really well. It has it at the back as well, which you'll be able to see in the video. It was my first ever collar stand, so I have done a collar before on my Dear and Dobrieres shirt, but that was a complete fail, and it didn't have a collar stand. So the instructions, if you've never made a collar stand before, I would highly suggest you watch the video that they link with it, because that was way more helpful to me. But now that I've made a collar stand, I understand the instructions a lot more. So yeah, the videos are really good. So what they do is they have links all throughout the video on how to print off the PDFs, how to do the button placard, how to do the collar stand. It's really good how they've set up the PDF. So there weren't a huge amount of changes that I needed to make. Some of them were just translation errors and a few things, but fitting wise, oh my gosh, this fits me perfectly. I made a size 32, which is the smallest size, and I've had to make no alterations to it whatsoever fitting wise. So I'm really pleased with that. The other thing that I'm really happy with, and I'll insert it for you here, is the fact that I bias bound all of the seams, and I also did bias binding on the hem. I'm really proud of it, and I think it looks really nice inside. One of my sewing goals for this year is to try and finish off my garments a lot neater, especially on the insides. I think it makes it look more professional, and that's kind of what I'm aiming for. So I'm really pleased with that. One thing that I'm not 100% happy with are the buttons. They are too big, but they're all I had, and I just had to get it done. So I popped them on there for now, and obviously I'll keep them, but next time I'll definitely get smaller buttons. Also, it is gaping slightly here, and that's because I haven't lined the buttons and the buttonholes up properly. Again, I was in a rush to get them done, so I will unpick the buttons and do them again at some point in the near future, but for now that's just how they're going to stay. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be making more of these. It's a super cute pattern, and it just goes so well with everything. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this one turned out. So the next thing I have to show you is probably one of my favourite makes for this month, and it is my Virginia leggings from Megan Nielsen. So this was the March Sew My Style pattern, and I was really excited to give these a go because if you've been watching me for a little while, you may already know that I have really bad luck when it comes to making leggings. This is actually my 4th pair, and it's the first time I've been successful. There's still things that I need to tweak, but overall they fit really well, and they actually go on me, which is awesome. So I actually said I was going to make them out of like this black material, and I did make a pair out of them, but they were way too small, so they were too short, they didn't come up high enough, they did go on me, but they were not wearable. So I was a little bit disheartened after that, because yeah, again, that was my third attempt at making leggings and it just didn't work. So I left it for a little while, and I read a few blog posts of people who were doing them, and I saw a girl who made them out of scuba. So I have actually attempted to make them out of this fabric before, but I made them too small because scuba is like, it's stretchy, but it's not really stretchy. So it obviously didn't stretch enough to fit. So I ended up going up a size, so I made a small as opposed to an extra small. I kept the tall inseam because I just wanted to make everything big and then I could take it in. And I also saw a tip where a girl added 5 centimeters onto the waist to make it more of a, to fit her natural waist, sorry. So I have quite a high natural waist, and that was one of the things that didn't work on my first attempt, was that it was way too small, like it didn't go up high enough. So after I made all of those adjustments, they did fit me really well. Obviously they were like way too long. I think I ended up cutting off about 5.5 inches of the length. And they were slightly baggy on the legs, so I did end up overlooking them again. And I will have to do something about the crotch, because it does, it is a little bit baggy there. But apart from that, they fit and they're really comfortable and they come up to my natural waist, although I think next time I'll probably just do 2.5 centimeters as opposed to 5 centimeters, because by the time you add the waistband on, that's actually quite a lot. But overall, I'm really happy with them. So I am just going to insert the clip here and show you, because I can't really show you them here. But just as a little quick show and tell, this is them. I'm really happy with them. I love this material. This material I got from Spotlight, and it was on their clearance table. So I think it was about $4 a meter, which is amazing. You can't really see here, but I have managed to catch the fabric a little bit here and do a little pleat, but I'm going to always wear it with something over the top so you won't see it. But it does fit me really nicely. Like I said, I think I'm just going to do 2.5 centimeters next time, which will bring it down to here, which I think fits me a lot nicer. But anyway, I'll insert a clip here so you can see them on me properly. But yeah, they're a really comfortable make. Just excuse Kenneth if you can hear him. They're a really comfortable make, and I'm definitely going to be making more of these. Now that I've kind of got the pattern worked out, they're ridiculously easy to make. So there's 2 pattern pieces, and you just sew the crotch seams together, you sew up the leg seam, you hem it, and you add the waistband. So they're really quick and easy to make, and I'm definitely excited to make more. I really loved Emily's from Self-Assembly Required. Oh my god, why can't I remember her blog name? Self-Assembly Required, I think. I'll link her down below anyway. She's one of the other Sew My Style leaders, and hers, she did like cutouts of, like chevron cutouts in another fabric, and they looked really good. So I'll link to her blog anyway down below so you can have a look at them. And yeah, I'm definitely going to be making more of these, so I'm really excited about them. So the last thing I have to show you today is my finished jumper. So I haven't finished a knitting project like that in a really long time, and one of my aims this year is to finish all of my works in progress, because otherwise they just sit there and I always find a better pattern or something else I'd rather work on. So I have had this jumper sitting on my needles for probably a good probably a good 2 years, maybe 1.5 to 2 years, and I really wanted to finish it this year, so I have finished it. The only thing I need to do now is to sew up the seams, so I'm not going to put it on and show you because the underarm seams are not done and they look a bit stupid, but I will have a blog post up next week for you with this on there, so make sure you keep an eye out for that one. So this is the finished jumper. It's so cute. This is the Sundotia jumper by Diana Waller. who is at Cakes and Vikings on Instagram. I'll link to her down below anyway. All of the links to all of this will be on the blog, which will be linked down below for you. So this was my first ever attempt at fair arm knitting, and I was really scared about it. And a lot of you will know that I said I wasn't going to do a test swatch, and then pretty well everyone told me that that was a really silly idea and I needed to do a test swatch. So I was going to do a test swatch, like I had all good intentions to do it, and then I couldn't work out, oh, sorry, I've got a hair in my eye. Oh. Sorry, I couldn't work out how I was going to do a test swatch when it's knitting in the round. So if anyone has any tips for test swatching something that's knit in the round, how do I do that straight? I couldn't work out how to do that. I'm probably having a massive blonde moment, but it just wasn't making sense to me. So in the end, I just decided to go for it, and it actually turned out, thank God. So that was fine needle size wise. It is a little bit tight on me, the jumper, which I don't mind tight fitted things, but it's a little bit too tight. So next time I'm going to size up half a size on my needles for the rest of the jumper. So all of the rest of the jumper is knit. I knit it on a 4mm needle, and this the fair hour was knitted on a 5, but next time I will go up to a 4.5 on this and keep that at a 5. Overall it turned out so well, and it's really cute on, not that you can see it, but I'll just jump up for you. Yeah, so I still need to sew the underarm seams, but overall it's really cute. I'm so happy with how it turned out. Oh, that lighting. The sleeves fit me really well. Like I said, just a smidge bit tight, but apart from that, they're all good. The fair aisle, I'll do a close-up of the fair aisle for you so you can see it. But yeah, that was a really not as scary process as what everyone sort of told me. Well, not everyone told me, but what I thought it was going to be. You just have to make sure that you hold, it's all about the way that you hold your yarn and the tension that you do it at. So I'm a really tight knitter, which I have gotten a lot better at over the years, but I really needed to be conscious of my tension. And I watched a really great video that I will link in my blog post when I do this on the blog, that explained about the color dominance and also how to make sure that your tension is okay. I found that really useful, and actually the fair hour was really fun. Because the rest of this jumper is all one colour and it's all knit, it can get a little bit boring, which is why I stopped it in the first place. But when you get to the fair hour, you do have to really concentrate. I did have to unpick, well, it's not called unpicking and knitting, it's called frogging. I had to frog back quite a few rows, pretty well back to the beginning, because when I was doing this section here, I messed up one of the rows, and so the whole pattern was therefore messed up. So I learned how important it was to make sure I was doing the pattern properly. So it's quite easy to follow and not as scary as what you think. And I love the way that this whole jumper comes together. It's knit from the bottom up, and you do knit the sleeves separately, but then you knit them in. And again, I found a really good video on how to do that, because I didn't really understand what the instructions were saying, so I'll link that when I put this blog post up as well. But yeah, I really love this pattern, and I already have plans to make another one. So I'm tossing up between navy with the cream or grey and the cream, and I really want to do both, but for now I'm just going to attempt one. So I think I'm going to go for the navy, but let me know what you think below. Also, I haven't blocked this, and I made a jumper before and I never blocked that either. So if you're a knitter, do you block? How do you block your knits, and do you think I need to block them? And what are the benefits of blocking your knits? So I'd really love to hear from you below. Please leave me a comment or send me an email or contact me on social media, and I'd love to hear your tips for that as well. So the light is going down really quickly, so I'm going to end this vlog here. Thank you so much for tuning in and for sticking with me even though I wasn't here for a couple of weeks. I have my April sewing plans to share with you next week, which I'm really excited about. I'm actually going to be filming them tomorrow so that I can start sewing this weekend. I have some really great things, yeah, to show you in that one, and yeah, just some really great ideas for things going forward. So As always, make sure you follow me on social media. They will all be linked down below. Don't forget that I've now changed to Jessica Lorraine, so the blog is now jessicalorraine.com, and I will be vlogging under Jessica Lorraine as well. I'm hoping to do a few weekly vlogs, a little bit like Sian from Kittenish Behaviour has been doing, because I love hers and I think it's really fun to watch them. They would be mostly more about my sewing and a little bit of my actual life, but I thought it might be interesting for you to see how I sort of sew everything during the week and everything. So let me know if you'd be interested in that. As always, please hit the like button if you like this video and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next week. Bye!